hate to break the fishing news up here, Chuck, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down here.
Yep.
All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today. Welcome into the Real Life Podcast. Today is August 14th. 15th, 2024. I call today the great day of talking because I just finished an episode of Wanya's World. 1 hour, 40 minutes. Went long. Mm-hmm. Now we're doing Real Life. 1 hour, thereabouts.
Yep.
Then I haul ass across town to the world's third largest mall where I'm doing a guest residency like Tiesto in Vegas. Except mine's on an AM radio station so high you can only hear it on farm equipment and ham radios. But I'm there 2 weeks, 1440 co-hosting.
You're doing every day?
Yeah. Me and Connor
for 2 hours?
For 4 hours.
Oh, you're doing the whole shebang.
Dude.
So you got to be there by 2 o'clock.
Well, I told him 3 today.
Okay.
And I'm probably leaving at 5:30.
How long are you doing this for? Like
2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
While Gregor's on vacay.
Yeah.
That
I've never
is.
been on the radio, so if you ever need
If you want to come down,
I would like
we
to
got open slots.
make a radio debut for once.
You should. It's fun, man.
You've never been asked to like do a hit somewhere?
No.
Oh.
Surprisingly.
Come do a hit somewhere.
I'll do
I'm in.
1440.
I'll talk to. Come down to. You want to come to the mall?
Do like, yeah.
I can come to the mall.
Do like
an next week, yeah.
Do like an Oilers roundtable.
Yeah,
That'd be actually pretty cool.
With the internet guys.
I'll talk to the gang. It's fun. So here are my complaints and my takes, Tyler. Perhaps you can give me some
Having
advice.
to talk for 4 hours a day.
It's repeating yourself. So
much.
What you take for granted on a podcast is that the same people listening now will be listening in 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll drop off, but chances are.
But if we repeated our first 15 minutes in the last 15 minutes, 80, I look at the numbers, it's 75 to 80% of our listeners would be like, why are they talking about this again?
And so I couldn't figure out when I first got there why we keep repeating ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's because people are tuning in and tuning out throughout the day.
Yeah.
So like top of the hour, you got to recap everything you just So like day 2, the Blues make the 2 offer sheets, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. And we talk about it for about 10 minutes. I'm like, cool. Now I want to talk about other things. Nope. It's talking about that on a loop. And then we get a guest and let's talk about that. And then we got another guest. Let's talk about that. And like to stay on topic of like 1 or 2 things for 4 hours is really hard to do.
Well, I mean, for Tyler, you basically repeat yourself like every Tuesday, Friday in the regular season, from Owen every day to Owen radio.
Yeah, to pre and post game on top of
You got
that.
the rundown as well in there, DFO Live.
DFO
so sometimes
Live,
you're
yeah.
saying the same thing 5 or 4 times. Like, how do you do this?
Well, so the interesting thing with radio, that was like a bit of a, I mean, it's hard to like kind of wrap your brain around it until you like really think about it, is for most people, like there are the AM, and AM's different than FM in this regard, but like there are the hardos for AM radio who are on a job site, driving a truck, whatever, sitting at their cubicle, whatever the job is, who they're listening all day. Okay. But those people are craving the talk so much and just craving like hearing a voice that like it doesn't really matter. The bulk of your audience is their 20 to 35 minute drive to work and their 20 to 35 minute drive back from work. And if you're not talking about the thing they want to hear most, which 90% of the time in this city
of the day
is Oilers as well.
And the news of the day.
And the news of the day, yeah. Like what's most relevant and most relevant to the people closest to you is what they used to say. I think I might be butchering that. But like, if you're not talking about the most relevant Oilers thing, it used to happen at 1260 all the time. Hour 2 of the lowdown. It's like, all right, we're going to talk NFL. Boom, text line. Why are you not talking about insert Oilers story here?
Yeah.
So it's training your brain to be able to like say the same thing in 3 different ways over the course of 2 hours and have 3 different conversations about the same thing over the course of 2 hours.
I respect it. Like it's one thing to do a podcast again, and podcasting is something unto itself. It's another thing to make social content. That's a whole different skill set. But like being at the radio where it's like, now we're doing an interview. Now you cut to this. Now we do a live listen. Now about this, blah, blah, blah. Like it's fucking hectic.
Yeah.
I like it though. It's fun.
I remember when I did. So before you go into radio school, you have to go do like a career investigation, they call it, where you have to go like interview someone. Did you do that, Was?
No, I actually never had to do that.
You never do that? Oh, maybe they've gotten rid of it. But you said do a career investigation where you'd go and sit down with someone in the industry for 30 minutes to like find out if you really want to do it kind of thing. And I did mine with Wilkie. And I remember the line he said that always stuck to me was like, anyone can sit at a bar and talk about sports. Not everyone can sit with a mic in front of them every day and talk sports. And like what Gregor does, like you talked about how much I talk during the season was, but for me, it's like an hour from 7 to 8 if there's a rundown, 30 minutes for DFO Live in the morning, an hour for ON every day, little 20-minute break, hour for ON radio, 2-hour break, and then pre and post game. Gregor doing 2 till 6 going is crazy every single day, whether there is news or not. You can't just sit there and be like, I got nothing today. We're going to wrap up the show an hour early. Like, that's not an option, right? So that's what's always insane to me about like what Gregor does for 4 hours a day.
Not only that, but Gregor's just knowledge of sports, right? Like now they're doing it with 100%. Connor. I keep like throwing to Connor with questions and he keeps going, well, I'm not Gregor, man. I don't know. Right? You're like, Gregor, how many shorthanded goals did Vinny Desharnais receive in his junior career? He's like, oh, buddy, he had 12. Like, he never misses. His knowledge of sports is encyclopedic.
And it needs to be, because again, and also it kind of, when you do that, he's been doing it for what, 15 years now? Almost 20 years, I want to say, right?
I think.
When you've been doing it for 20 years and talking about sports 4 hours a day, every day, you're also just with the guests you bring on of other teams and all this, you're just going to know so much naturally from.
I feel like you're on that road. Like you're in the moment so much talking about the sports of the day that you're retaining it all that you've talked about.
Yeah, I think so. The difference now, I guess, would be like when I was on the radio, it was 2 hours a day and it would be like, hey, we're mixing in 20 minutes of NFL, 20 minutes of whatever, CFL, all that. And now my day is so much just like hockey. So I feel like I've lost a little bit of my ability to like, hey, what's going on in the NBA right now? Unless I like seek out the information.
Well, Bronny
myself.
James has a younger brother with glasses.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing, is to kind of keep it, like pay attention to multiple sports at once and be able to have like a level of interest and keep people informed at the same time. Like for me, like I used to be all in soccer. And then when I jumped to hockey, I'm more of a casual when it comes to soccer. Like I can't really tell you how the Premier League is going to go this season. Like I'm starting to kind of get back into it. It's very interesting.
I only like the Oilers. I know, shock. But like when they start talking about other stuff, even though I'm live on the air, I find myself drifting off mentally. It's hard to stay on topic. Yeah.
That too. Like, I mean, the other day when we were talking, it would have been Monday's Real Life when you had to go. And I was like, you have a Dolphins guest on the show and a CFL wide guest, not even an Edmonton Elks guest. And you were like, alrighty.
Yeah. Like today with Larry Thompson buying the Elks, I know we're going to be talking about the CFL for the entire time.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I don't care, but I'll learn.
Yeah, it's and that also is really interesting. Maybe we'll get into that to start.
No, please, God, no.
You don't want it?
I'm kidding.
All right, quickly, we're going to get into that. A little local sports talk brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Download the app, get in on a huge range of markets, and use the promo code OILYBONUS. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. The Elks, for the first time, I don't know about ever, but first time in 75 years, are going to have an owner. They're not going to be community owned anymore. And it's interesting in that regard. I do think the community owned thing was a little bit, I think it handcuffed them at times. I think it certainly handcuffed them financially, but you pointed this out too, like the lease they got from the city saved them. And if they weren't community owned, will they still get that same deal?
Well, and you know, I haven't yet read what was said or whatever. Did they do a presser?
Yeah, he did a presser today.
So first of all, congratulations to Mr. Thompson.
That's cool.
Did they say a sale price?
I don't think they did.
Don't they have to? The city will have to disclose it sooner or later because it's a city asset. But anyways, let's assume it's what? 20 million bucks?
Sure.
That's a big bet.
Yeah, that is a big bet. And part of me wanted for a second to be like, but in terms of the relative cost of getting in on a sports team, that's not that big of a bet. But also a CFL team is like, got to be viewed a little differently.
I think they said lost $19 million between 2019 and 2023, if I'm recalling correctly. So like talk about a new stadium or something to me is insane.
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about? Unless remember that we got Commonwealth Stadium built with university ad money from 1976. So the federal government gave Edmonton money for the LRT and some money from Northlands and some money from Commonwealth, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we get another major event like that, like just making an NFL-sized stadium for the Elks is not a fucking move.
Like where would they put it? Like,
I have no idea where you put it.
Does the city have the space for a whole stadium like that? I don't know.
Yeah, there's not exactly a lot of land just like kicking around in good spots where you could just prop up a stadium because you don't want to put it out in like Nisku. No one's going to go to the games.
Well, that's exactly it. And like, just redo the concourse. There's not that many new events you can bring to Commonwealth unless you domed it, which is a terrible idea.
Yeah, no.
NFL stadiums are like $2 billion and shit. Like, what are we going to do here?
There's also college football stadiums, which are massive.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see them redoing the concourse more. They've put work into it. But I don't think that's going to like change the fortunes of the team. a $700 million arena. Like, what the fuck?
No, I don't think so either.
Barely people still sit in the upper bowl, like barely when anyone's up there.
Well, because they close it now. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like,
but a $20 million, let's just say it's that bet on the Elks. Like, you have to commend somebody. They're doing this for the assumingly love of Edmonton and love of the Elks. It's not a great investment.
No, and a love of the
People
Elks,
shitting on you and being like, how come you can't fix the giz or whatever? They're going to yell at this poor bastard for the next 20 years.
We've like always beaten this conversation. I feel like we have beaten this conversation to death of like, what can they do? But Waz, you're on the podcast because everyone else has gone today. Well, BM's in Toronto for the Blink concert. That's fair.
We also like Waz.
We do like Waz. That's why you were the first one to get the call, the only one to get the call. Chalmers, I don't know where he is.
Vacation.
Oh, okay. Jay, I don't know where he is either. Business. So you're in Waz.
They always just disappear here and there. I mean, Chalmers is here every like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's kind of like bi-weekly, but.
Also, the golf video is done. I told everyone it was going to drop Tuesday or Wednesday. We're putting in like final edits on it right now. It'll be out tomorrow on Friday. We'll drop it.
The golf content's been doing well on socials.
Yeah, I think people generally like it.
The Millwoods one with the golf cart girl got 30,000 views.
Oh, we put that out there.
Yes.
Is it incriminating in any form?
No, not at all.
Just kidding.
Comments like, thanks for having me out, guys. Or thanks for having the video.
Oh, she
incriminating? Why? What happened?
No, we were just joking around a little bit. And I was like, maybe we don't put that
I'm trying to think. I think somebody commented and said, what does this have to do with the Oilers? So I'm like, well, we got a golf tournament. The Oilers could be there. I'm like, no,
you could also shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there's an idea.
Commenter.
It's the off season.
Shout out to the Millwoods Golf Course, by the way. Oilers Nation Open comes back in just over 2 weeks. It'll be 15 days, August 30th. You can bid to play with myself, Jay, and Chalmers. Tomorrow you can watch the video, see how we did in our 18 holes at the Millwoods Golf Course. And I think the bid right now, you got to go up to $675 to get in on the action. So head to nationgear.ca, drop in your bid. We also have a couple of spots open if you want to get you and your friends in on the golf tournament in a foursome. A lot of prizes up for grabs as well. It's always a good time. Shotgun start bright and early. And then a dinner or lunch, I suppose, to follow. Yeah,
delicious.
It was really, really good last time. So shout out to the Millwoods Golf Course there. Let's continue along. Do we want to talk... Do we want to talk about the offer sheet stuff? You probably talked about it on Wanye's World, didn't you, Wanye?
No, I've just said it so many times on the radio this week that I didn't actually bring it up, but we can. I've got takes.
I feel like we should, for the people tuning into this podcast. Waz, you haven't been on a podcast since it dropped. What do you think?
I think it was really unexpected. Like you guys said, offer sheets this is like the third time it's really happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see. I'm pretty sure they'll probably match the Holloway one. I feel like I'm confident in that. Broberg, I think, is going to be a St. Louis Blue. I don't know how you match that. Like, I don't know how you're going to find the cap space to bring back Philip Broberg for $4.5 million, and that's a lot of money for a guy who's played 81 NHL games,
but can play 17 minutes a night in the Stanley Cup Finals. And
in the same breath, it's a big opportunity for him. He's basically solidified top 4 minutes in St. Louis. It's a great opportunity for him. And I know a lot of people say, oh, he's not going to win a cup in St. Louis, but you never know. A couple of years, who knows what could happen.
I think for some players, their own career, yes, you want to win the cup, but do you have a priority? You want to improve. You want to play.
I think if you asked the bulk of NHLers, if you gave them the option, career earnings of 20 million, no Stanley Cup, career earnings of 10 million, Stanley Cup, they take the 20 million. As much as you want to win, and I know us as fans sit there and are like, why are they turning their backs on the Oilers? Like one of the mailbag questions for Monday was like, do you think the players in the room are going to view these guys as like some sort of traitors? Because guys like Henrique and them took less.
Fuck, of course not. They want everyone to get paid.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point, is like Adam Henrique taking whatever he did, 3 million instead of 3.75 with the Jets when he has $55 million in career earnings already is way different than Philip Broberg going from $3 million over 2 years with the Oilers to $9.1 million over 2 years. Like, I don't think there's a single guy in that locker room that's going to be like, can't believe it.
I think most professional athletes in the brotherhood of professional athletes want their comrades to be paid.
Yeah.
They know what they have to do to get to where they are. They know the sacrifices they make. They know the injuries they play with. They know how it's such a head case. Everyone's down on themselves. If you can get paid on top of all that, do it.
And I think for someone like maybe like Draisaitl, for example, he understands that he might have to take a pay cut. For
Again, though, different though, right? He's so rich already.
Yeah, exactly. That too. He's already made his.
Made his money. He's got all his side ventures. Like if Leon Draisaitl wants to make an extra $250,000 a year, he can just go do a couple of commercial shoots in the offseason and like probably get it back. Also, again, like I laugh at the comparison between them because it's like Leon Draisaitl might take $800,000 a year less over 8 years. Okay, how much is that? Like do the math, whatever, $6 million. Philip Broberg, way less career earnings. We're talking about $6 million over 2 years. Like what the Blues did was just insane.
Well said, Tyler. I might steal that later.
Like that amount of an overpay that was crazy. So
why didn't Corey Perry take a pay cut?
That's the thing that pisses me off the most in all this is when you hear the report that it's like, apparently Holloway wanted $1.2 million when they talked earlier in the summer, and the Oilers were like, we're going to squeeze you. But this 39-year-old who couldn't stay in the lineup and he scored one goal in the playoffs, we'll give him the 1.2 or 1.15. Like that's such a piss off to me.
He's a cup winner.
He's made $100 million in his career. He could have been like,
not taking pay cuts.
No, fair enough. But like $400K, that's like a drop after taxes. That's like a drop in the bucket for Corey Perry. It's like 0.2% of his career earnings.
There's a reason why Perry wasn't at the McDavid wedding.
Was he not?
I don't think so. He was also on the team for like.
We don't know that for sure. Then
the Nuge wasn't there.
Yeah, I heard about them. Are they expecting or something? I don't know. We'll have to ask Kennedy.
Kennedy and I were confused by it.
Do we know? So how do we know he wasn't?
Because the Nugent Hopkinses are with the Eberleys in Calgary on social during the wedding weekend.
Oh, Eberle didn't get invited.
He's far enough out now. Like this is a small wedding on an island. This isn't like 1,000 people at the Basilica on Jasper Avenue, right? Like,
but what's interesting is like it appeared as though every current Oiler got an invite.
Really?
It looked like it. Like Derek Ryan was there.
It's a 200-person wedding. That means that the Oilers and their plus ones are 60 of the 200 people. Is it that many? Is it every current Oiler? Did our pal Cal get a Stu Skinner?
Yeah, I saw Pickard. I think I saw Pickard in one of the pictures.
Derek Ryan was there.
Derek Ryan was there. Like I think almost everyone was there. So the idea that
what a great man.
Also, did you see the video Lauren Kyle posted today?
No.
Brad Harrison, who's one of the, he's the bald trainer, athletic trainer. He's got the goatee. He came in when he was, so Lauren Kyle posted part 2 of the wedding week, which was like some sort of
something to do before bed tonight for me.
Part 2 out of 5.
Yeah, part 2 out of 5. Anyways, Brad Harrison, the trainer, shows up and he's wearing a suit coat to this thing with a Nugent Hopkins jersey on backwards.
Maybe Nugent's gonna make it.
Yeah, so that's why I think maybe there was like there was some sort of like we actually just can't be there, or maybe expecting, who knows, like what the situation was. But
why couldn't they be there? I can't see that being the case. But the Nuge is so inoffensive. How could you not invite the Nuge?
And they're also, like they've been teammates for 9 years.
No offense. Our pal Cal's there.
Hey, Ekholm wasn't there either. So it's like.
But Ekholm, I could see him being Sweden. International. Yeah.
Yakupov wasn't invited.
Well, he's got a new career in the Chinese team, the Red Star.
I'm trying to find this picture now to show you, but I can't. Did we post it or did someone else post it?
Yeah, but I should probably post it.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
It's very interesting, the reaction to the wedding now on social media, because like a week ago, before everything's released, people were like, "Oh, if you care about the wedding, you're creepy, you're weird," and now everybody cares about it. See, now it's cool.
There's some funny pictures that have come out of it,
and it's like the party. Did you see the party video of that with Loud Luxury?
Yeah,
it was like, oh, what a bang! They look like they're having a good time. Connor Brown seems like a vibe. So,
yeah, Ryan McLeod was there. He looked hammered. I mean, they all did, but whatever.
They look like they're having a good time. There's some photos of Connor letting loose laughing that are epic.
Yeah.
It's good to know he has it in him.
But then also in that video of them all behind Loud Luxury, Connor McDavid looked like the most awkward human being imaginable. He like had his drink and was just kind of like, I don't know where to go.
Like James Bond with the tuxedo on.
Yeah. I also like that. I mean, again, their wedding, 5 parts, 5 different installments of this whole thing. It's like, holy shit.
5 dresses.
Yeah, 5 dresses.
Queen shit.
That is insane. What do you think the price tag was on the whole wedding?
We worked it out on Wanya's World.
The whole wedding?
$1 million.
I'm sure. Well, Kennedy, she did the numbers probably on it. Her article was amazing.
The fact she found out that the place was for sale and you can look at it is amazing.
I didn't even know she did that.
That island is for sale for $13.5 million.
Do you think Connor's going to buy it?
That's what I thought. But then you got to think like the life they have in Muskoka, apparently, like there's rinks to skate at.
Oh,
Sam
yeah.
Gagne's involved.
He started Muskoka hockey.
Yeah.
So
I think it's part of that community that they like. Like Tavares is there.
Yeah.
Right? So like living out on an island by yourself might kind of be a little bit.
Harrison Cates was there.
Yeah. White
Harrison
suit.
Oh, Harrison's always invited.
Mm-hmm. No invite for Nobby.
No, I didn't see anything of Knobloch.
Not
Fair.
Coach Woody.
No. Speaking of weddings, I went and got my engagement photos done yesterday with Amber, and we did them at Little Brick. And we, like, as we were there, he was showing us some of the pictures. I feel like that could be like an interesting little side business for Little Brick. The pictures looked unreal when he was showing us on his camera.
Oh, we do. Yeah. We host weddings.
Yeah.
We don't take photos though. That's a good idea.
But yeah, the photos are cool. Like
Really
the
good
door, the brick, like you guys have on that one wall as you come around the corner to go to the main entrance. There's like that wall of like ivy or whatever where it's climbed up the brick. Like that looked cool as hell.
Cool.
Yeah. Even this, we did some in front of like the employee door on like those old brick steps. It was sweet. It was a good spot. Highly recommend for anyone.
Right on.
But yeah, that was.
Yeah, we used to always say, I don't know if we do it anymore because of crime and stuff like that, but we were always just like, if you want to go take pictures in the yard, just knock yourself out. Like,
yeah, I needed to undo the big lock or whatever.
you
But
don't need us to.
also,
thank you for choosing.
getting pictures for 2 consecutive hours is exhausting. That is like, it's the lamest complaint ever. But like by an hour and a half, I was like, okay, this has to be done now, right? Like we got to be wrapping this shit up. Like smile, move your head this way. Sucks. That's all. Was. Nothing.
I'll keep that in mind when I get engaged.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. We are going to keep humming along on the podcast. What are we at now? 21 minutes. I had an idea for a topic of conversation.
Do it.
Sports movies that you'd like, but you need the full truth of the whole thing. So, you know, like the Patriots put out a documentary like a month ago, but it was just like Robert Kraft, and it's like clearly spun towards him, and it's like anti-Bill Belichick and like all this stuff. So a sports movie.
Anti-Bill Belichick?
Yeah, he got like kind of spun into a raw deal. So
Dick move.
this came to me yesterday. I was having dinner with Amber, and I was talking to her about the story of Matt Bush, which is like the most generic name ever, but his story is like insane. He was a baseball player. He got picked first overall by the San Diego Padres in 2004.
Okay.
By 2012, he had never played a game. He had been arrested more times than he'd been called up to the majors, and he was getting arrested for like all sorts of shit. 2004, a few weeks after the Padres drafted him, he was arrested on a suspicion of felony assault, misdemeanor trespass, disorderly conduct, underage drinking. He allegedly fought with a security guard trying to get him out of a bar. Okay. Calms down for 4 or 5 years, doesn't get into a lot of trouble, stinks at pitching though, cannot get to the majors. Early 2009, he's involved in an assault at a San Diego high school, caught on camera. He was caught beating up a high school lacrosse player with a golf club while screaming, "I'm Matt fucking Bush." He got released after that. Somehow didn't go to jail.
How they know he did it?
Well, right? Like the worst way to
scream my name at the top of my lungs.
Why was he at San Diego High School? Was it like an event or just like?
I think there was some, it's not in here, but if I remember reading some other stuff, allegedly, I think it was like a drug deal maybe gone bad.
Jesus.
And he was like at a high school buying drugs.
Nice.
Like bad shit. 2012, he gets arrested and charged with 2 counts on a DUI, takes a plea deal, ends up getting another DUI where he hits a guy on a motorcycle, tries to drive away, drives over the dude's head, but the dude was wearing a good enough helmet that he got up and was like, what the fuck? Gets the license plate. They catch this guy. So then Matt Bush finally goes to jail he was housed at the Mayo Correctional Institution in Mayo, Florida in January 2015. 11 years after he was drafted, he finally goes to jail. He goes to jail, is released from prison on October 30th, 2015. So he only goes to jail for like 7 months, gets out. The deal of his release is that he can only go to his house and to his work. And he was like a cook or something at a Golden Corral buffet.
Oh my God, that's awful.
The Texas Rangers are sitting there and they're like, son of a bitch, can you still throw hard? And he was like, yeah, I can throw hard. And they're like, come to our facility, work out for us. He's like, I can't come to Texas. I can't even go anywhere but the Golden Corral in my house in Florida. And they were like, cool. Do you want to come, or can we come to you, and can you do a workout and throw for us in the Golden Corral parking lot?
What?
So he does a
This is taking a turn.
He does a workout. Keep in mind now, this is 12 years after he was drafted. However many times he's been charged, he's now been to jail. He works out for the Texas Rangers in a Golden Corral parking lot in Jacksonville, Florida. And they're like, fuck yeah, you still got it, dog.
What? Why would they know to call him? Anyways.
So that was in December of 2015, 2 months after he was released from prison. He works out and they were like, you can ball. By May of 2016, 4 months later, he is making his Major League Baseball debut.
What the? How did he do?
He pitched against the Blue Jays, went 3 up, 3 down with Donaldson, Batista, and Encarnacion that inning. So like 3 of the best hitters in baseball at the time. Zings them, picks up his first career win a few months later. He got hurt a bunch of times, needed Tommy John, but he's still pitching in the minors. Like 7 years after. So he is gone from first overall pick.
Crazy. First overall pick
in 2004.
Fuck.
Wow.
Beating the hell out of a high schooler with a golf club.
As you do. Caught. I mean, they have it coming.
Going to jail for his 3rd DUI, getting released from prison, working out in a Golden Corral parking lot. Months later, pitching in the majors. And I mean, he bounced between the majors and AAA a handful of times. He got traded, played for a couple different teams, but like somehow carved out a 7-year professional baseball career at the tail end of all of that.
I can't think of a story even remotely in the same ballpark. No pun intended.
Did this turn into a movie or
no? But I was thinking that like that would be like,
oh, that'd be amazing.
Almost if that happened in a movie, you would almost be like,
that's like Wolf of Wall Street type stuff.
Yeah, like it would feel too insane to be like
a little bit.
But also like only the Texas Rangers would be like, all right, this guy just got out of jail for his 3rd DUI.
How do they find that? Like, they're not in the habit of getting people to work out in Golden Corral parking lots 10 years after their draft day. Much just his pedigree is so high up on the list.
Oh, also he was originally drafted as a shortstop. And then he made the majors as a relief pitcher. So he was like, yeah, I can just throw really good.
So he had multiple? Did you say DUIs?
Yeah, his 3rd DUI is eventually what got him sent to prison.
All right.
So like by all accounts, not a great dude. But there is part of the story is
running over someone's skull, but they were wearing the right helmet.
Yeah.
Makes you not a good dude in your book, Tyler.
No,
that's too hard on people.
I draw the line somewhere right around there. But the Texas Rangers cited their like very high end player recovery program. They'd done it in the past with another first overall pick, Josh Hamilton, who had like basically retired because of substance abuse, and they like rehabbed him. So that's how the Rangers viewed it. Is they were like rehabbing him as a civilian.
That Josh Hamilton story is a good one too. I kind of am familiar with that.
Yeah,
he was out of the league. Like,
again, had to go to rehab, would go to rehab, come out of rehab, blah, blah, ended up like winning the home run derby, ended up hitting like 2 or maybe even more, like 3 or 4 30 plus home run seasons. And then like as quickly as he got back, he was gone because they figured out how to pitch to him. But yeah, that story is the Matt Bush one is insane.
That's a wild one.
I know they're doing another Aaron Hernandez documentary, but like, I don't know how much more can even be told after the first Aaron Hernandez documentary. Like there's only one way to really tell that story. This also got me thinking as I was driving in of like Oilers stories that you would like the absolute truth of.
Oof.
And so the first thing I was like, oh, is there a good one to be made of like the Dallas Aikens era? But then I was like,
yes, I think so.
But then I was like, what's even the good? Like, is it just going to be like if you got the full truth of it, would it just be a bunch of players being like, oh yeah, like he was an idiot?
But you need the redemption arc for like the Mac T story would be unreal.
Yeah,
because he goes through such a crazy point in his life and then totally redeems himself and lives a remarkable life thereafter.
It's his birthday.
It's his birthday today.
Mac T turns 60
today. Yeah. No shit. You would think that we did this on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
We did not do that on purpose. Mac T's a wonderful story for rehabilitation opportunities for athletes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need a second chance, not just athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right though. It does need the redemption side of it to make it like a really good.
And then it got worse, and then he ran the guy over, and then the guy died.
Yeah, like if I would have went through that whole story, then just been like, and then he retired. He's still working at the Golden Corral.
He's still in jail in Boca Raton. Like, okay.
No, like the fact he ended up coming back and pitching in the majors for like not just like 3-4 games. Like he was good for like 2 or 3 years and then bounced around a little bit. But it was like, oh, he ended up like becoming a professional baseball player 12 years after being drafted first overall.
12 years. Like you'd think just the time, like life would have made you unable.
Yeah. Or
Neil
like,
Yakupov would be kind of interesting, I feel.
yeah, if you could actually get like some good truths behind like what went wrong. But that one still just ends with so many what ifs.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, he had a good rookie season and people said, oh, he was destined to be a bust. But I don't know. Something happened with Dallas Aikens and he had that interview with, I think, John Scott last year where he was saying it just...
This summer he didn't interview John.
last summer, actually.
But he talked about it again this year.
Oh, they just
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. That's
But... yeah, it's a very interesting story, and I guess Nail just didn't transition well to either North American hockey or the culture.
But he's living his best life now. Like watching him on social, like he's playing in the KHL. Now, right? Like I don't think that the Nail Yakupov story is sad. He makes $3 million a year last year. Like fuck, who cares?
Sheldon Surrey, he always brings up that story.
Yeah, but even that one, like there's no like redemption side of it. It's just like he eventually was out of the league and then.
Comrie story would be a good story.
Comrie story was good.
Interesting.
There's a lot of twists and turns in that story. Coming back at the end, redemption.
Yeah. And then I guess the early on part of it would be like, yeah, why didn't it work? Like, are there some good...
We were talking about it on Monday's World, just like the pressure he was under before the social media era.
Yeah.
Like in an era where no one had cameras on them, he couldn't go out anywhere without like crazy amounts of attention and shit like that.
It is actually insane that he married Hillary Duff.
Yeah, and they lived here.
Yeah, like that's bananas.
Crazy.
And Edmonton wasn't really like a I mean, I think it's a destination now a little bit more than it was before, but back then Edmonton was just kind of a
yeah. Like if Connor McDavid married some sort of Janet Gretzky-esque superstar and they lived in Edmonton, it would be like that makes sense.
Janet Gretzky, with all due respect, versus Hillary Duff. Hillary Duff's one of the hottest in the world at the time. Like she was
a Disney Channel star.
Yeah.
So
the peak of her game, right? Janet, God bless her. She was like, she'd done her role. Yeah. She lived her kind of, like there's a window to your Hollywood shelf life.
Yeah, that's fair.
Who else would be interesting to hear about? What about like Javi Bulin?
That'd be interesting because he had that DUI in Arizona just like after he
wasn't he like in Tent City or whatever?
Well, he started out in Russia and shit. Like the course of his life, like crazy shit.
Actually, that would be just a good hockey one in general, would be to like compile some of the wild stories of those early Russians coming over. That'd be a good one.
Like Ken Holland with the wings sneaking people out of the Iron Curtain. That'd have been crazy.
That would actually be a great,
that'd be awesome.
30 for 30 or whatever.
Who'd be involved? Like Fedorov?
Yeah, was he one of that you'd maybe remember?
Like Larionov was one. Yeah. Like Pavel Bure, he wasn't on Detroit, but his escape from the Iron Curtain shit. Like there's wild ass times where like you go to World Juniors and not come home.
That is insane. That's a baseball thing too, right? Like guys coming over, defecting from like whatever countries. Like some of those stories would be, and I'm sure there are places that have done like documentaries on them, but the Iron Curtain one in hockey would be pretty sweet.
I watched a documentary about Japanese baseball when that Ohtani stuff was going on. I was interested in learning about it. It's crazy to me, the culture of Japanese baseball, like how many pitches they make those kids throw. And they're just like, you're doing this morning, noon, and night, bitch. And it's acceptable for your coach to kick your ass. Like beat you up.
Why isn't baseball in the Olympics? I mean, I know the States would dominate, but it's kind of like basketball where you have Canada, right?
Yeah. It's coming back in 2028, I believe, for LA.
I don't think the States would necessarily dominate Japan.
So would be very interesting to see against the States.
The last time they did a World Baseball Classic, it was true best on best, and it was the beginning of last season, and Japan won.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah. It was like a big thing. But yeah, that would baseball. I think the plan is for it to come back in 2028. Same thing with like softball or whatever on the ladies side of it. Cause that used to be an event back in the day. Remember there was a bunch of the like Haley Wickenheiser, I think was doing both. She was playing hockey and playing softball.
Olympic softball?
Yeah.
Good for her.
Well, the guy replaced breakdancing, from what I heard. That's gone.
I can't believe that ray gun lady made her own qualifying committee. Like, what the fuck, Australia?
Yeah, Haley Wickenheiser competed in softball at the Sydney 2000 Olympics.
Isn't she also a nurse now?
Doctor.
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Doctor. Check it. Check it, Waz. Check it.
Hey, I don't know all my facts.
Yeah, no, she is. And she works like part-time with the Leafs or something.
She's also a lawyer. She's Dr. Lawyer Wickenheiser. Judge. She's also a judge, Waz.
Just doing all
Judge,
the side
doctor,
quests,
lawyer.
All the side quests.
Yeah.
So.
All right. We do need to step aside for a quick break, but first I need to tell you about Burgers to Beat MS. Next week, I'm going to be live on location at the Windermere A&W Was. You ever been there?
No, but I guess I'll have to come by.
Yeah, you're going to have to now. Shout out to our friends at A&W and Burgers to Beat MS Day. It's back. It's celebrating its 16th year on Thursday, August 22nd. For every teen burger sold on Burgers to Beat MS Day, $2 will be donated to MS Canada. In the lead up to August 22nd, you can support Burgers to Beat MS by rounding up your bill with any purchase at an A&W, donating online at burgerstobeatms.ca or through the A&W app, or by adding a donation option when ordering on your favorite delivery apps. A&W is rallying communities to unite for the cause and raise awareness about MS in Canada. On August 22nd, Canadians can show their support and help envision a world free of MS by visiting their local A&W restaurants and purchasing a delicious teen burger. Waz, how many teen burgers could you eat in 24 hours?
In 24 hours?
Yeah.
Probably 20.
20. You
In
think you
24 hours?
Yeah.
It's like a burger an hour. Easy.
You think you could crush a burger in an hour?
Yeah, probably.
Damn. All right. That's impressive.
Now, when you say you're down there, what do you mean you're down there, Tyler? You're on location at the A&W?
Yeah, I'm doing Oilers Nation every day from the A&W.
You do the
It's like a
show
remote.
there from there?
Yeah.
Kind of like, how's the equipment work? How's that work?
We'll just pack up like a roadcaster and a camera and a couple of mics
The
and
Wi-Fi is good enough, and
yeah, probably.
Knock on wood.
I'm going to do a show from Sherwood Power Sports and Marine tomorrow. Yeah, the internet usually holds
I
up.
jumped in their
that
pool.
to me would work because it's like an office.
Yeah, you're right.
Whereas like an
And a busy A&W. Worst comes to worst, you just hotspot your laptop.
people can say hi.
I'm sure we'll get some people there that'll come say hi at the A&W. Yeah. I remember once I had to work. This was a back old radio thing, but I had to work the drive-through for a day.
How was that?
Oh,
It was pretty wild. Like they have stats that keep like how fast you're turning through orders. Like there's timers on every order and you got to be moving. And my only job was to grab food out the window, have a nice day. And like, that's all I was doing. Usually the drive-through workers like filling drinks and doing other things too.
I miss when the Oilers would do things like that for certain companies where they you be in a drive-through and you can go get your meal from them.
Go get your
I'd
meal
love
from
to see Connor McDavid giving me like a happy.
Sir, can we start maybe with Troy Stretcher? Do we have to have Connor at the drive-through window immediately?
Connor, give me my team burger.
Could make it happen.
Yeah,
You know whose movie wouldn't be riveting?
Troy Stetchers.
Connor McDavid's movie.
yeah.
Maybe like, then we did our plyometrics.
Yeah.
And then we won the Stanley Cup. And then we went to bed early. And then we got up early in the morning.
Will
Like,
Leon Draisaitl's be interesting because he's from Germany, or be kind of the same?
I think the most interesting part is coming over to Prince Albert at the age of 16.
well, Leon's dad is an interesting angle.
Yeah. That's
Right.
a good
Because
point.
he had that infamous goal on behalf of Team Canada that stopped on the crease.
Yeah.
And he was like Bill Buckner of Germany for a little while. And the fact that his kid turned out to be Uncle Leo Draisaitl, like greatest European player arguably in a long time, is an amazing story of redemption. So that could have something there.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Connor, I guess the compelling story about Connor would just be the fact that he's able to live up to the hype. Like, I don't necessarily think a movie about LeBron James would be that interesting.
No.
Like, he was the shit, and then he just stayed awesome and had no scandal.
Although, if the Oilers had won the cup this year, the championship documentary would have been sick.
Yeah, the Oilers Plus content would have gone crazy.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the depressing scenes inside the locker room.
Yeah, that sucked. That was not fun to watch.
Connor's like Sidney Crosby-esque in that they just run such a tight program that
Yeah.
like there are no problems. There are no slip-ups, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, a little off topic, but on topic. Tyler, you added me in a tweet yesterday.
Okay, we're going to talk about that, but first we're going to step aside for a quick break.
Grab a Burger Beat MS on August 22nd.
All right, back on the Real Life Podcast. Waz, I did include you in a tweet yesterday. I'm going to go see. What do you think is that retweets wise?
149. It started to pick up a little bit more steam. I thought it was going to peak.
Oh, it's 142.
Oh.
8 away. Did you see what I tagged was?
No.
Okay, so there is this Colts fan, and apparently he does this before every Colts game. He writes a new song for the Colts. Do you want to listen to it?
Yeah.
I'll put it into the mic for the people, and I'll let you watch.
That part is where I'm like, that's where I kind of draw a line. Like, what am I supposed to like? Tie this a drip for the Oiler?
Yeah, so I put it out yesterday and said if this gets 150 retweets, Waz will create this in Oilers style ahead of their first preseason game.
Without your say so, Waz, he just volunteered.
I just did it.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't have any musical energy in me.
142 is what it's at right now.
So we're 8 away.
Yeah, 8 away. The nay at the end is hilarious. That's
kind of weird, but I respect it.
But yeah, so at the end, Waz, you got to do like a trip. I said we could get you one of those rain sticks that you turn upside down.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's not a bad idea.
That'd be funny. But you got to write the lyrics too. It's got to be like 20 seconds.
That's the thing. I don't think I can write the lyrics. I just go do ChatGPT.
Oh, we could. That actually might work. Write me a 20-second song about how good the Oilers are going to be this year.
With the tune of, I know soccer fans do that for certain chants, so it's possible. So I don't know, man. It's just the whole bad.
It could also turn into a curse.
That's somebody commented.
I don't think that making video music stuff is the play.
And also during the playoffs, that was kind of a theme among fan bases. Oilers fans, Canucks fans. They were like, even Flames fans 2 years ago, they would make a music video and fans would go after them like, this is cursed. You jinxed us.
It's stupid. Like the Flames when they did is so fucking cringe, man.
So bad. Yeah.
I don't know. Music's hard to pull off,
especially in sports like that. Like,
but that's adorable. It's not someone trying to choreograph dance moves.
And apparently Colts fans like love him. Like he's like he's got like a cult following.
And in hockey, it's like you do that and you're despised forever. I remember last year somebody did that with they did a music video with Gene Principe.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like it. I love Uncle Gene. He can't do a bad move, but I didn't like it.
It was very like 2000s rap.
Even Cadence Weapon, an actual real rapper of note coming to town during the playoff. I don't like it.
Oh, I liked Cadence. I like when he did the McDavid song a couple years ago. That was
but coming back to record a new video, I don't know. I love Cadence Weapon though. I'm not dissing Cadence Weapon. I'm not. I don't want that beef. I don't want that
Sounds
beef.
like you want that smoke.
No. He's a good dude.
But in general,
he was our poet laureate,
which is weird.
It's incredible.
Yeah, incredible. Like an insane fact. Yeah. We might just let that one die.
We'll see.
People might forget about it.
Dangerous Wade will bring it back.
The reason we did it now, or I felt okay doing it now, is because the preseason's still like 6 weeks away. So it's like,
Oh, we got eight preseason games to go.
Yeah, you could pick. Yeah. You could do it for the split squad game.
Christ, split squad. What for both games?
Fuck. We're still a ways away from the new season. I'm not ready for the new year yet. I haven't put the old season to bed.
I know. I got asked that yesterday. I was like, are you excited for the hockey to get going? I was like, honestly, no. And even when it gets going, like I'll get into it and people are going to be like, you said this last year, like shut the fuck up. But like the regular season should be relatively boring this year.
I don't know. I kind of like the regular season in a weird
Think
way.
of the fucking chaos we had last year.
Yeah,
you declared the Connor McDavid season over. 16-game winless streak.
I remember I was making clips for like Owen Radio, and you guys were making your predictions, and Rick said something. Oh, we're gonna get like 130 points this season. It's gonna be like 60-point win President's Trophy.
Maybe it's good we're doing this like offer sheet thing, and the Bowman hiring knocked us down a peg. If we would have gone into next year with too much optimism, you're only setting yourself up for disappointment.
Did the Oilers have a perfect offseason up until Bowman? Maybe. Would you like?
Yeah.
Like
I still have my hockey news from 2017-18, and on the cover it has Connor, and I think Johnny Gaudreau overlaid, but it says expectations sky high in Edmonton, cup bound ? And I was like, huzzah! And I bought it at the gas station and kept it on my coffee table. Didn't even make the fucking playoffs.
Nope. That would have been Chiarelli fired by January, Koskinen deal, the whole 9 yards.
That's why you play the games, Tyler. Think about last season. If you'd told me or told you like Coach Woodcroft will be gone mid-season, you'd be like, what?
I know.
Yeah, no,
Why? This is a lock. We're going to dance right through this season.
Chris Knobloch, who?
We're going to have 16 losses. Was that what? 16 losses?
16 wins in a row.
Yeah.
What'd they do to get to the bottom of the league?
2-9-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
16 wins in a row. It's so crazy.
Too, like there was a lot of like buzz around the Heritage Classic. McDavid was injured then. People were like, oh, is he gonna play in the Heritage Classic? And then they win the Heritage Classic and they keep losing. And it's like,
I would argue that Connor was never healed the whole year.
no, I don't think so.
No, he wasn't. His goal total fell in half, 64 to 32. That's crazy.
Still 32 is amazing.
32 still, it's a good year, yeah.
It's pretty cool too.
Remember last year when we were making predictions, everyone's like 1,000 goals, 1,000,000 points.
How far away is he from his 1,000th point?
Like 61 or something.
So when do you think he'll get that? I don't want to play
30.
that game. No, he's 18 away.
Oh shit! Oh, he's 60 some points for being second all time on Oilers. All points leaders.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Yari Curry.
Jesus Christ, he's going to jump Messier?
And Curry
Where do you think he is in the all-time scoring list?
4th.
No, like league.
Oh, league
Top 200?
top 30? No, not top 30.
Let me go. I'll check it.
A lot of players who played for us.
He's at 982. Oh, wow. He's lower down than I thought he was actually. He is, he's outside of the top 100.
I said 200 was.
He is 104th.
Okay.
So he is sitting right behind, 645 games. It's laughable that he's at that point. But he's right behind Dave Keon, Rick Middleton, Paul Correa. And once he gets his 11th point next year, he will pass Phil Kessel and move into the top 100. So he's going to bump Phil out of the top 100. It's tough.
Phil has
break for
3
Phil.
cups.
Phil's 3 cups. And then when he gets his 1,000th point, he'll pass Jason Spezza and be in 99th.
So when he gets 1,000 points, do they present him with like a special stick? Is he gonna be the youngest
No.
player to be presented that stick? I don't know if Gretzky ever got that.
I feel like Gretzky did it. Gretzky was having 200 point seasons.
I mean like back then. I don't know if they actually did the presentation.
If they did anything?
Yeah.
No, I feel like they'll
They
just
gave
do...
a carton of smoke, some team sponsor Marlboro. Said, light up, Gretz. And he said, yeah, that's cool. It's amazing that Connor is going to pass Paul Correa because Paul Correa is like a very decorated NHL player.
Yeah, but he's like, again, 600 games. Like that's bananas. It is also crazy when you look at the top 10 scoring all time. Everyone is like, again, they're all above 1,500. Sid's at 1,596. He's in 10th.
So Connor has like 2.5 times to go to get there. Oh, sorry. He's closing it on 600 games?
Yeah, he's closing on 600
points.
games.
Games played?
982 points. So he's about 2/3 of the way getting into the top 10. But Sid's 1,200, Sakic 1,300. Everyone's like 1,300 to 1,700 games. Then there's Mario 915 only. It's crazy. He only got to play 915 games.
So the reason I like the regular season is because we get to kind of see like Crosby come to town and stuff and see the head-to-head matches we don't usually do. Like I'm interested to see how Michkov will do.
I also, just looking at this, one thing I always have a beef with, why don't they include playoff stats in a player's career totals?
I don't know. That is weird. Sometimes people will do that on like stat pages, but you got a point.
I feel like they're doing this more now. They're saying in the calendar year, Zach Hyman scored 74 goals.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's like, again, I get part of it is like you could be a good player on a bad team and you don't get to go to the playoffs. Like you shouldn't be discounted. But like if you're a great player, what you did in the playoffs should be mentioned in the same breath as what you did in the regular season. So when they
show the total goals in those top 10s, they're not showing playoffs?
No, it's only regular season.
That's fucked.
Like Ovi chasing down Gretzky for most goals all time, that's only regular season.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't include whatever they've done in the playoffs.
Yeah, you don't ever hear about playoff stats compared to like regular season. It's very interesting because Connor put up 40 plus points in the playoffs, and that was insane.
So Ovi's 41 back of Wayne for the most goals all time. Again, regular season. If you were to include playoffs in that, Wayne is at 122 and Ovi's at 72. He would need to get another 50 to pass him if you included the playoffs.
That's crazy, man. Ovi's gonna do it. Good for him.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's good for the sport to have that. Like it'll be on ESPN. Everyone will be talking about it.
How much gas he has left in the tank?
He's got about 41 goals left in him.
Yeah, like he'll
His
just.
body doesn't look great either.
But 41, he'll like.
I think he'll do it.
He'll probably do it next year or early the year after.
I think it'll be 2 more years.
Like, even if his production was to fall off a cliff and he were to miss like half a season with an injury, he's just not going to leave till it's done.
He was scoring at a decent clip last season for a bit there. Like, the Caps made the playoffs.
Back end of the season, he got high. Yeah.
So
took his trip to Dubai and then he came back and was on fire.
How do you motivate yourself if you're Alexander Ovechkin? Like, fuck.
that's the record is the motivation now.
Yeah, you're
like,
true.
I don't think you would think, oh, why not another cup? But the record is pretty prestigious.
I don't think he can deliver another cup. I think he can deliver. He can deliver the record.
Like, I don't even know what the Capitals are right now in terms of a team. Like,
well, they had a crazy offseason. Remember, they got Matt Roy,
Yeah,
they got
like-
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
you would think they'd be like in the category of the Sharks where they want to rebuild a bit, but
They can't if Ovi's
still
there.
trying to be competitive.
It's like Pittsburgh.
PLD, as I call him. You never know, man. With a new start and wash and no pressure.
Yeah, that's fair.
People in Washington do not give one fuck about Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Also, I do think there's something to be said about like people were like, oh, it's his 4th team. Like, why would it be any different this time? But it was like, okay, first time he left Columbus, he was like, I hate John Tortorella. I want a fresh start. They do that trade. He goes to Winnipeg. Okay, that's not like much of a wake up call. You're a young spoiled kid and you got your way, more or less. Winnipeg, it wasn't really a fresh start in LA. Again, it was him being able to be like, I'm going to pick where I go. Like, whatever. This is the first time in his career that he was ever truly unwanted to an extent, right? Like, Washington did it because, again, they got out of the Kemper money as a part of it. But like this might be, he was only 26. This might be a wake up call for him to be like, oh shit.
100%.
It's incredible to me that like professional athletes need to be reclaimed. Like, how big was his deal in LA?
$8.5 million
Like,
a year.
What the fuck, man? You'd think. But if there's a place to be wild and spoiled and young and rich, LA.
Yeah, true.
That's fair. Oh, they got Chikrin too.
Yeah,
Their blue line's actually really
they're an
good.
interesting team. Their goaltending is not too bad either.
Yeah, Lindgren was good. They got Logan Thompson now too. They're spending 1.8. They are spending 1.8 million on Charlie Lindgren and Logan Thompson. They are spending less on their 2 actual goalies than we are on Jack Campbell's buyout.
That is such a, you know what?
Darn.
If we could go back in time, boys, I don't want to be controversial. I don't think we should sign Jack Campbell.
Hey, I never got a chance to ask you this question actually, because we did it on Oilers Nation Radio.
What happened to my question?
But it ties into it.
Oh.
The biggest what ifs in Oilers history. So Liam's answer I thought was really good. So the only rule we did is we didn't do like, what if they didn't sign Jack Campbell? That wasn't like kind of in it, because that's like not low hanging fruit, but like it's easy to be like, oh yeah, what if they didn't sign Campbell? Oh, they would have had more money. But Liam's was, what if Jordan Eberle would have had a good playoffs in 2017? And you lay out the butterfly effect from that. If he scores 4 goals, scores a big goal in Game 7 against the Ducks, and they go to the Western Conference Final, who knows how it plays out, whatever. You could argue they don't trade him that summer, right? They sit there and they're like, oh, core guy, he had a good playoffs. Okay. So they don't do Eberle for Strome.
Yep.
And then the next season, they're scoring a little bit more. Maybe it doesn't get off the rails as quickly.
Yeah.
If Chiarelli doesn't have the terrible Eberle trade in his history and then the terrible Strome trade in his history,
Does he stay as GM?
does he stay as GM does he get more life? Does he end up lasting until maybe it's the end of the next season or midway through the next season? But if he's not fired when he is, Ken Holland probably just retires in Detroit. He's probably pushed out or he takes another job elsewhere. Ken Holland doesn't end up here if he's not hired in that short window. So
Interesting.
if Eberle has a good playoffs,
Ken Holland's not GM.
Ken Holland's not GM, Chiarelli's still GM. Like, how different does everything end up playing out, right? Do they do Neil for Lucic, or is Chiarelli loyal to his guy Luch and says, I'm not trading you? So many different things if Eberle just has a good playoffs, right? Flip side, or is there another one I should say out there that can you think of?
I would think, what if Pronger doesn't leave is the number one what if.
That was Dan's answer. Yeah.
Because all those other guys that left, those rats, I think stay if Pronger stays.
And the point I like that Dan made was, what is Pronger's legacy as an NHLer? If he doesn't bounce from Edmonton, Anaheim, Philly, right? What if he's just like a 10-year long Oiler or 15-year long Oiler?
He would be probably general manager of the team right now. He would be beloved. It would probably be annoying to him because, as we see, I mean, you've talked to him one-on-one.
Number in the rafters, probably.
Yeah.
But he doesn't win a cup the next year for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Anaheim
doesn't.
That was what was so crazy about the Oilers, was that the entire time you had this feeling like this shouldn't be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now you watch the Oilers, you're like, this should be happening. They have fucking Connor and Leon and the ghost of Jack Campbell. Like, this should be happening.
Yeah.
That to me, though, like all those other guys, like Todd Harvey leaving that summer, there's no need for this. Samsonov leaving. Why? Spacek. Why? You don't need to leave. I'm still mad, was. That's what if Gretzky doesn't leave, though, is the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Gretzky says, you know what, Janet, I love you. We're going to have a house in LA, but I'm going to retire an Oiler. Could they even have made the numbers work? I don't even know. I don't think it's fair to say Janet wanted to leave. I think she would have supported him, whatever he was doing. I'm just saying what he had told her that. But like, is there a way in 1987 economics Wayne Gretzky could have stayed with the Oilers? Probably not, man. His hometown discount would have had to been so fucking crazy.
Or does he end up like getting a chunk of ownership as part of his next deal? And like, that's how they make it work or something, maybe. Right? Like how wild. And also if he doesn't go to LA, do things change in terms of how hockey grows in California?
If he doesn't go to LA, I don't think Anaheim and San Jose have teams.
That's what I said. Liam said I went too far. He said eventually the NHL would have gotten into that market.
I don't know about San Jose. San Jose is a pretty small market.
My point was, I don't know if either of them exist. I think maybe you could say like, yeah, okay, they get an Anaheim in there at some point, a second LA team, sure. But like to get the Anaheim and then the San Jose on top of that, I feel like the league might have, if California didn't boom the way it did when Wayne went down and hockey became more popular there, maybe they would have been like, let's go to Houston or let's go to Salt Lake City or a Kansas City. Like, let's go to a more Midwestern area where we think it could work the way a Chicago works or whatever. And
what if ATB didn't have that clause in the contract that they could find another buyer for the Oilers?
I don't even know about that.
ATB. Now I'm going to get my facts wrong but anyways, so Pocklington had a loan with ATB for the Oilers, but ATB at their own request wrote it into the loan document that if he tried to sell the team, they had 90 days or something as the loan holder to find an alternate buyer. And he had a deal worked out to sell the team to Les Alexander, a guy in Houston, and ATB cock-blocked the deal and they made the EIG and bought it. Like ATB saved the fucking Oilers. They should, that should be the ATB ads. We saved the Oilers.
What if ATB would have just been like, well, let's just get out of this thing. Let's get out of the deal. Like, sure, approve.
Sounds like a great.
The Oilers would be gone.
Yeah.
And the last line of defense was a clause ATB wrote into that's not normal banking law.
Yeah. Huh.
Genius.
Interesting. I'm looking at that.
Yeah.
And I do wonder how would Gary have stepped in at one point, and we have been like
he wasn't in yet.
Oh, this was pre-Gary.
This was pre-Gary Bettman. So this was the last days of John Ziegler. And I'll never forget because I remember Gary Bettman coming in and being like, the Oilers aren't being sold. And you're like, well, of course they are. Pocklington wants to sell them.
I think Gary was around. He's been around.
It might have been his first year.
Yeah.
Because he came to town, said, and this is why I always love Gary Bettman. He overruled Peter Pocklington.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Pocklington was business daddy. He wasn't being overruled. He sold Gretzky. And the new guy came in and said, we're not moving the Oilers. I couldn't believe that a guy from New York wanted Edmonton to have a hockey team.
My biggest what if is very less intense than that. I just wonder what would happen if we never hired Dallas Eakins? If we kept Ralph Kruger? Because the team seemed to be trending upward at the time. What if like the vision with Taylor Hall, Nugent Everly actually came to fruition and they made the playoffs and were slightly more competitive? Like I feel like Dallas Eakins just like threw a wrench in there and just ruined everything.
Could do the same thing. Like what if they would have just let Mac T stay as GM for the first year of McDavid? If they're like, okay, let's give him a year, see what he can do. What
if Nelson Scalabrini had challenged Peter Pocklington to backgammon and he says no?
And Wayne Gretzky never ends up here?
Yeah. Hey, you want to play backgammon? You know what? I just want to have a nap. And then Gretzky never comes from Indianapolis.
Of offer sheets, what was the Thomas Vanek one?
Oh, that would have been bad.
If he'd worked out?
What was that? They'd have to give up like 3 first-round picks.
One of them was the Taylor Hall pick.
Yeah.
And we would have had just like aging. Probably still would have gotten Connor McDavid. Actually, I don't like to do the pre-McDavid ones because I'm always like, all the pain. Like Chris Pronger stays, we probably don't get McDavid because we stay competitive, right? No. The Vanek one, we probably still would have gotten McDavid. We still would have sucked.
And we've talked about this before, but for the record, I would trade the 06 Cup. I would not trade it for Connor McDavid.
I wouldn't either.
I would sooner have Connor McDavid no cups than the 06 Cup run, and that's crazy for me personally to admit out loud. Because that was such an insane moment in time for everybody.
It's easy for me and Waz to be like, agreed. Because like,
yes.
But knowing what I know now, a cup is one thing. Connor McDavid is a whole, like wire to wire. You conceivably are going to have him for his entire career after you were Gretzky Town. It's an embarrassment of riches.
2 minutes left in the pod because I know we got to let you go, Wanye, but that idea of Connor going wire to wire and also the Leon Draisaitl extension right now, the fact that every insider and like, are you stressed? No one's stressed about it. We're just kicking our feet up being like, deal's getting
people on the 1440 text lines are hilarious.
Are they worried about it?
He hasn't signed because he's not signing. Like, okay, Matthews being named captain is going to be allowing him to hand it over to Connor in 2028. Like,
Draisaitl's original extension was signed on like August 16th.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the anniversary. So it's like this is normally going to late August.
Yeah.
And plus this whole offer sheet is a bit of a distraction that kind of has priority right now, I think, over the extensions.
I thought the Draisaitl extension was going to drop like 5 days after the Bowman thing as their way to be like, whoop, boom. Now there's positive PR about the Oilers. Now I'm back on that. And I'm like, next Tuesday or whatever, they're going to be like, we are not matching either offer sheets. Their guys are gone. They're both gone. And then on Wednesday, it'll be like 8 years, $13 million for Draisaitl. He took a discount.
Just wait until Captain Skate. It'll be before Captain Skate.
Me too. Yeah. I think it's when he comes back to town.
I remember last year I was like, oh man, I'm tired. I don't want hockey to come out. And then remember they dropped the captain skate. I watched the entire skate like 4 times over. I'm like, oh, I'm back. What you need to get excited about hockey again is the first notes of fall air.
Yes.
That morning you wake up and there's dew in the ground. You're like, oh, gross. Winter's coming. I wonder what the Oilers are doing. Circle of life, baby. Right now it's hot out. It's 27 degrees. It's steaming hot. Everything's on fire. You're not feeling like Oilers hockey right now. So talk about it for 6 hours in one day, Wanya, you idiot.
Yeah, you got to go to 1440.
When I was at the Hlinka final, I'm like, oh, can't wait to see the Western Conference Finals banner up there.
I forgot that that's going to be a thing. Yeah, they're going to put a banner up.
Dude, you got to think back. Like, I could remember sitting in Rexall Place and looking up at those banners that are like, you're getting one every 15 minutes for 12 years, and then it just fucking stops. And then we're a small market team that can't afford shit, and everything looks like garbage, and years are going by, and then they float the 106 Western Conference up, and then nothing again. To be finally adding to that pantheon that isn't a fake Garth Brooks banner. This is incredible.
Small question wrap of the pod. They didn't do a banner raising for that stuff, do they?
In 06?
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
So would they do that this year? I don't know. Oh,
they'll do a ceremony.
I won't even look at it.
I wasn't there, but I asked my dad this the other day because he's a season ticket holder. And I was like, what'd they do? And he said they played Time of Our Lives by Green Day is his memory of it. And they played like a little montage of the playoff run up to that point. And then they floated up the banner.
Interesting.
I'll never forget. And I know we got to go. Do you remember Gretzky's retirement game?
I watched on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
When he's in the back of a pickup truck?
Yeah, and they're driving him around.
That's so funny because he's just like waving, like, why did they do this to me? Remember when he was in the Olympics in the opening ceremonies and it was raining and he had the torch? Yeah. That was the second most awkward back of a pickup truck ride I've seen from Gretzky. That retirement one, the only thing y'all ever did that was funnier than that was Slats' retirement when they made him start at the top in the media row and walk down.
It took him
and he's
so
like
long.
mid-70s. What the fuck?
No, that was that Slats or was that Rod Phillips?
No, Slats retiring. Because he had, when they started, he had, I'll never forget it, his cigar in his ashtray unlit, and he's like up in the media row, and then they had him walk all the way down. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to be retired by the time Slats hits the ice.
You know, like they would have probably done a rehearsal at some point. I like to now envision morning of, it's like 9 a.m. They're like, all right, Slats, so you're going to start up here. And then, okay, we're doing the dry run through of the walk. And halfway through, he's like, this sucks. And they're like, well,
if they'd done a dry run, he wouldn't have done it a second time. I think it was a one and done.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
He'd have been like, this is taking way too long.
This sucks.
That would be a nice to know full. What does Glenn Sather know? If there's one guy's vault of stories.
The fires he would have had to put out. I would love. Oh, that'd be a great book.
I feel like when an OG sees a scandal like that in the sport, he doesn't think, oh, wow, it's terrible that got out. He thinks of all the ones that were worse they kept from the light.
Yeah, probably.
And like the guys in those days, they were the experts of sweeping everything under the rug and being like, hey, second star in the Molson Cup tonight is that guy that did that thing an hour ago.
Yeah. All right. To wrap up the pod, got to give some love to our friends over at Wilhock Beef Jerky. Wanye is going to the mall. You can stop by the kiosk. It's one of 3 spots in the Edmonton area that you can get Alberta's best tasting beef jerky. Get your jerky on. For more information, go to willhockbeefjerky.com. Shout out to everyone who tuned in. We'll be back on Monday with a new edition of the pod. Enjoy your weekend.
All right.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.